Is Ted Kennedy the most important Kennedy?
No.
Okay.
But, I mean, obviously, it depends on what you mean by most important.
Now, here's an argument that I heard, that I read in an article, okay? And I don't think I believe it either. But they said, look, JFK was a very important president in American history, no question about it, but was president briefly. Whereas Teddy Kennedy was perhaps one of the most important senators in American history, and stayed in the Senate for decades and decades, and made more of an impact in the long run. And RFK also monumentally important, but that when you look at the span of their careers, it's possible that Teddy Kennedy was the biggest Kennedy.
Well, he was definitely the biggest Kennedy.
Okay, all right.
I don't think so because, I mean, first of all, it just completely depends. Who made the biggest impact? I think it's Ted Kennedy. I mean,
oh, you do?
Yeah. I mean, there's no, I mean, legislatively and sort of, being sort of, also at a time, I mean, being the only sort of well-known and, depending on who you ask, respected person in the country for a while who would be like, yeah, I'm a liberal. That's right, and I'm not, and I didn't change in 1985 or 1988 or 1992 or 1997 or 1994, for God's sake, and say, no, I'm a progressive Democrat, liberal. I'm a liberal. And,
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out. That's a really good point. I didn't make that point yesterday, and I should have. A guy that through all the rough waters and all the ups and downs was like, look, if you're looking for a liberal, it's right here.
When you hear some of the sort of tributes paid to him that have been running on TV by members of his family while he was still alive. When you see Carolyn Kennedy Schlossberg or obviously John Kennedy Jr. before he passed away, talk about the guy they refer to as Uncle Teddy, and she says at one point, there have been so many times when things were bad and things were down, and we looked to Uncle Teddy. And he clearly he was a patriarch. I mean, he meant something to all those nieces and nephews who had no fathers, which is, not all of them, obviously, but many of them, who had no Kennedy fathers anyway. And he was a rock to them. And he was a rock to the Democratic Party at a time when, massive weakness, sort of caused everybody to rethink, how do we relabel ourselves? How do we brand ourselves? And he was like, what are we rebranding? Why are we rebranding anything? I mean, he didn't carry the day because at some point you can't be the one guy with thousands of people against you. But he kept fighting, and he at least lived long enough to where now people can be like, yeah, okay, I'm a liberal.
And, when you thought United States Senator, for about 30 years in this country, you thought Teddy Kennedy.
Right.
That would be the one senator that everybody immediately thought of. Now, having said that, you still think JFK was a bigger figure in American history?
Sure. I think JFK was a bigger figure in American history. I think RFK is a huge figure in American history, and I can't watch. You hear as you have in the last few days Ted Kennedy's unbelievable eulogy at where he sort of where everyone was let known, they got another one. But you watch the train ride. Like I don't know. I mean, I guess if God forbid something terrible happened to Barack Obama, we would see some of that, probably more than that. But the fact that this guy hadn't been elected president almost makes it more telling. I mean, you watch that train ride, it was people who would do that, just lining up along, saluting. Black people, white people, brown people, old, young, people in suits, guys who just got out of the mill, housewives, children.
This is when they were carrying RFK's body in the train.
From New York to D.C.
So that's really powerful and it's true. What I love about RFK and why I know this is really kind of a goofy way of putting it, but my favorite Kennedy is he cleaned up crime in this country.
Right.
Really cleaned it up. I mean, you
organized crime.
Yeah, you wonder what happened to organized crime? Bobby Kennedy happened to organized crime. And it was enormously brave of him to do that. And, there's so many developing countries in the world who can't figure out a way to get beyond organized crime. And we had that same problem here. And Bobby Kennedy really took it to him and changed the scope of the country, and in terms of corruption as well. I mean, I think that is really understated in Bobby Kennedy's record.
Name the scandal involving the Kennedys and Teddy for nearly 50 years in the United States Senate involving sort of public corruption. Graft, giving a contract to a close personal friend, moving money away from something because it would help them politically. There are none. None. None.
Yeah, and it ties in with the point I was making yesterday, which is, conservatives ironically blame him for being a limousine liberal and trying to help the poor when he's rich. Well, what did you want him to do? Help the rich?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the dumbest argument ever. All right, so you're rich. You're the conservatives who say that. You're rich and didn't try to help them. Good for you. Feel better?
Yeah, congratulations.
Great point. Yeah. Didn't take a salary for whatever it's worth.
Oh, he didn't? I didn't know that.
Never.
And then Patrick Kennedy had a really nice statement. He said, look, my dad never talked about it, and he didn't publicize it. He didn't tell us, but people would come up to us every once in a while and say, thank you so much for what your dad did. And be like, what did my dad do? Oh, he paid for the health care for my husband, and he's alive now because of it.
Did you hear Joe Biden?
Yes.
Yeah, come on. I mean, it's just that stuff about like he'd wake up and there'd be a doc there he didn't ask for.
Yeah.
From Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You know.
So keep that in mind.